Anti-Show on the road. All right. This is the Anti-Show, episode number 5, and we have an amazing interview. It's a little bit of a long one, but if you stick through it, it's awesome. Why? Because we talk about overcoming barriers, obstacles that have really impacted your life. And Jerry, a good friend of mine, Jerry Mendoza, no relation, but it'd be cool if there was, but there isn't, at least as far as I know. And we talk about overcoming really shitty challenges, as in losing somebody that you love. My friend Jerry lost his sister Michelle, and apart from that, 1 week later he got beat up, like really bad. His jaw got displaced, weeks in the hospital, rehab, and how to overcome that shit in your life. How do you bounce back from that? How do you recover from being the old person that you were and one time having that sort of stuff happen to you? Losing somebody you really truly love, a family member, having them pass away, and then like physically damaging yourself, somebody punching the living shit out of you. And sorry, excuse my language, but there's no other way to put it. It's horrible. I mean, what happened to this dude is horrible. And what I really wanted to extract, and what I extracted, what we extracted with this conversation is like, how the hell do you come out of this? How do you bounce back? How do you live life again with pride, with energy, with vitality, with tenacity, and come back even stronger than where you were when that shit happened? So we're gonna talk about him right now. All right, let's go. And let's start with this, because everybody's like, okay, who the hell is this guy again? And well, I mean, the reason, you've been my friend on Facebook and whatnot, and you've posted several tragedies, several like crazy pictures of like, wow, of like your face beaten up and whatnot. And I'm not making fun of it.
No,
that's what I
fine.
saw. And another tragedy with your sister,
yeah.
And we'll talk about that. And it's just like, wow. And then ever since those events, you've been posting like some really cool stuff that has actually helped me. And I've commented on your stuff as like for example, believe you're capable of overcoming the challenges you face. Great challenges make life interesting. Overcoming them makes life meaningful. Self-loving people know this and live accordingly. And then, it goes on and on. So, I mean, that ever since you've been posting this, like, wow, this is, like, really, really cool. So, I mean, what happened, man? I mean, I just saw you beat up in, like, a picture. And can we put it on the show?
Yeah, go right ahead. It's perfectly fine. I can talk about it now, of course.
Well, what is that? What happened? Like, you mentioned something before we started, but like.
So we'll backtrack to about a year and a half ago. So I was going, and it's so relatively close to when my sister passed, so I kind of have to get into that a little bit.
And where are you from, first of all?
I'm born in Houston.
Okay.
And then, of course, grew up in Laredo, and then moved up here for school, and been here ever since.
Right. And,
you're Mexican, of course. You grow up with a family tradition, values. Right. You respect others. Strong family values.
Right.
And this situation, I wouldn't say it changed the way I was, but I think it kind of pushed me forward onto this different mindset.
Right.
So about a year ago, August 3rd, 2013.
August 3rd, 2013, okay?
My sister, passed away.
Right.
The week before that, the entire time that she was in the hospital.
How did she pass away? Or?
That's a very interesting question. I would say, unfortunately, we never really got a definitive answer. The doctors did everything they could. It's just one of those things where we never got a response. She was in the hospital for 8 days. She was medically induced into a coma. She had a how can I say this? I'm trying to think of the medical term. She had a full body seizure that caused her body to convulse a lot, like most seizures do. But she was 38. As more neurological. So I mean, the doctors did so many tests, blood tests, parasitical, spinal meningitis, all that, and they found nothing.
So, I mean, she goes to the hospital, I assume, or what happened?
That story, there's lots of pieces to that story.
Yeah, please, and go to the beginning.
So
feel free.
The crazy thing is that I was actually in Vegas when I got the call. So when I think about that story, I think I was living on top of the world, and then I get a call that just the world kind of stopped.
And you were at what age?
I was 30. I was still 30, and
So you were living it up. You were 30 years old and in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, life was awesome at that time.
Well, even in college, I mean, I remember there was some crazy parties, man.
They were fun. It's a very, very good way to socialize and network everybody. Like, it was cool, man. That's how you develop your networking skills. And so, in Vegas, living it up, and get the call the last night there, and I didn't know what to think. At first, I'm like, you know what, I gotta go. Scrambling to take a red eye home, but it just didn't work. I left the next day early in the morning.
You got a call that she was in the hospital.
Yeah. My sister called me and she said, hey, Michelle, which is my sister's name, she's in the hospital and she's in a coma. We don't know how long she's going to be, but, just wanted to let you know when you get back. And, I tried to make something happen the night. It didn't. Left the next day and, came home to what at the time was considered a nightmare. Right. Because it's just one of those things that it doesn't process in your mind. You still think, oh, everything's going to be okay.
Right.
And so from that day, I got back on a Sunday, all the way up until Wednesday of that week. Wednesday is really when reality settled in. It's like, you don't know what to think. It's your family member you grew up with, and now it's like, you don't, they're not that person.
Huh.
And so that whole experience, it makes you kind of question where you are in life. So from that Sunday to Wednesday, there was not really much movement. There wasn't any status update or whatever, right, as far as
she was just,
is she getting better?
Right.
What's wrong with her? So Wednesday, they decided to transfer her from one hospital to another. And when we got to the other hospital, medical center, that's when things kind of got a little bit more antsy,
Right.
The family started kind of getting a little bit more worried. And we just received a lot more information as to what we thought was happening really wasn't happening. The details of her diagnosis it's just unbelievable. It was upsetting, to say the least. I won't get into detail, but it's one of those things where you think that, she's being treated, but when you realize that, we couldn't do anything for her, we need to move her to where, there's specialists.
Right.
And that's the upsetting part. So from that Wednesday all the way to that Saturday, that's when it was just kind of inner turmoil. I like to think that us being, Hispanic, Mexican, Latinos, being a son is a job in itself.
Right.
So you carry the bloodline, so to speak, and you're your mother's son and your father's son. So I knew that Saturday, that, up until that point, I had to be strong for my family, especially my mom. And
is your dad still around?
yeah, they're alive and well.
Button up, man.
Yeah, it is. It's chilly. It's chilly.
Nippy or nipply.
Now both of my parents are still around.
Okay.
Alive and well.
Sorry, man.
You're fine, dude. No, we're good. It's just one of those things where I realized my true strength. I told myself I wasn't going to break down that morning because we got the call.
Really?
We got the call. It was...
you did like the Mexican. Agarrate los huevos y...
I had to be strong for my mom, especially.
Wow.
when it's very tough.
It's crazy, man.
I'll say this.
Even imagine.
No Mexican guy, any Mexican guy, Hispanic male that says they're not a mama's boy, that's bullshit. Because we all love our moms, unless of course you had no relationship with your mom.
Right.
I understand, but no,
Right.
like I think seeing my mom break down, seeing her the way everything went down, it hurt me, man. It was killing me. When you get into your adult adolescence, you kind of prep, like you tell yourself, oh man, one day I'm going to lose my parents. What am I going to do? And it makes you sad. So you basically you have that thought process, and you don't expect your parents to be the ones to, bury their children. And it's tough. It's tough.
Damn.
It's tough. And I've been with my parents, and you try to support them in every way you can. You talk to them, every now and then I'll still see my mom cry in the mornings, but it's understood.
Right.
She needs to let that out. And so that happened August 3rd, about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. And then we buried her the next week. And I have to say, I don't know if you had me on Facebook at that time.
Yeah,
And I have to give credit to everybody. Like everybody I have on Facebook, everybody who personally reached out. Social media, we all use it to, like you said earlier, like vomit our emotions or just vent out our frustrations and all that. But never once did I ever find myself thinking that I would have to like kind of ask everybody on Facebook, like, please send me your prayers. And I was desperate. I was scared. It kind of seems a little pathetic when you have no choice but to beg for help. But at the same time, I wasn't too proud for that. I know that there's a lot of good people out there.
Huh.
Like there's a lot of good people that feel the same way, but maybe they don't know how to say it or whatnot. I could care less, dude. At that point, I just needed.
Ego just went away.
It doesn't matter anymore, dude. When it's not about you and it's about somebody else that you love and care about, you grew up with. It just changes your perspective on what, like, I'm doing this for me, but realistically, I could be helping somebody else out. And so, I did post a lot of very truly heartfelt things where I was desperate, and I just voiced it out on Facebook. And the outpour, I mean, that's people that I hadn't really communicated with, that I had just met in passing, messaging me, asking me if I needed anything, asking if my family needed anything.
I mean, I reached out, man.
You reached out too,
and I mean, I knew this guy. We were drinking buddies on a Saturday or something like that. I mean, I can probably count the days that I've known him. Like,
chasing girls and talking about stories and.
Well, I mean, not me. I was married at the time, but.
In college, right?
Yeah. No. But it's crazy. Yeah, Claire, we're very good. Thank you. Thank you. We're at the Flying Saucer here in San Antonio.
That's right. It's a good place. Good brews.
And of course, when shit happens, like, what happened to your sister and whatnot. I mean, I just remember that vividly. I mean, I think I included it in one of my poems. I was just like, oh my God, it just hit me. I mean, just how life can be so fragile, man.
It is. And I think ever since, that was one of those pivotal points in your life where you kind of start appreciating the things that you have. So after that happened, actually, and now we'll get into the pictures that I posted. So a week after my sister's funeral.
A week after your sister's funeral.
A week after. I met up with a friend. My friend was in town. I hadn't seen him in a year. And he was in town, and he's just, hey, let's go out, let's grab a drink, let's do something. So I met up with him, and
a friend, just
a buddy, and we went out. And so that night, I shouldn't have gone out, not because of any other reasons other than it's too soon. My sister passed. It just didn't feel right. But at the same time, I said, you know what, I haven't seen my friend.
Needed a break, right?
So go out, drinking,
Interesting.
go to a bar where funny thing is, everybody knows everybody at that particular establishment, and I knew a lot of the people that were there.
Which establishment?
Social house.
Okay.
It's a great place. It's a great place.
Okay.
It is. And night progresses, and I'm fixing to go home, and it's about midnight. So I go to the gentleman's room, and there's this guy there, shorter guy. I thought he was young.
So there's a guy there, okay.
This guy, and he's, we're all waiting in line to use the bathroom.
Right.
And he's like, man, I gotta go, I can't hold it. And I was okay, so I said, hey, man, you know what? Like,
Go for it.
this guy's about to finish. Go for it, man. Go ahead. So as he's walking in, this bigger guy walks in and pushes him out of the way, almost into me. And I never got physical. I just made a comment. And again, you got alcohol in your system. You're having a good time. Like, my comment wasn't bad. I don't think it was. And I never got physical.
Right.
Like, my comment was simply like, hey, man, there's no need to be an asshole,
Right.
Like, we're all adults here. but
Right, that goes really well at the bar.
it does. The irony of it all is everybody agreed. Like, there was a couple of guys in there like, yeah, don't be a bully.
Right.
And so the guy,
This dude was bigger than you?
well, the guy that I made the comment to, yes, was probably like 6'1", 6'2", a little bit bigger, a wider frame.
Aren't you 6?
No, dude, I'm 5'9.5".
Oh, okay.
I'm little compared to that.
Okay.
And the guy that was, saying he needed to go.
9.5. That's hilarious.
I know. Gotta add that half. 5'9". It's just but my driver's license says 5'9", and I slouch. So
Right.
no, the I say kid, but realistically, the guy's probably like my age. He's shorter.
Right.
He goes and does his business, and then I go. And you're talking about maybe a good 1 to 2 minutes. 1 to 2 minutes pass by at a bar, that's forever.
Yeah,
It's like
an eternity. Yeah.
Of course. So I go, I do my business, whatever, and it's funny, man. I can talk about it now and laugh about it.
Right.
I flush, and I turn around, and that big guy's just standing behind me. And
Were you zipped already?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
And, I mean, the way it went down again, it's just a blur because it happened like that.
Right.
He blindsides me. And
The big guy.
Big guy. Blindsides me. Good solid punch, too. And I always thought I could defend myself, but I couldn't, like, not against this person. And I don't know what happens. I think I hit the wall because the urinal space is very small there.
Right.
Like, I hit the wall and I slipped. And the mistake I made is that I didn't go all the way down. I think at the time I was like, oh, the freaking bathroom floor is dirty.
Oh my God.
So I kind of was halfway
So
up, halfway.
germs had to do with it.
Well, I held myself up, and the guy managed to
Right.
land a few kicks in my face.
A few kicks
Yeah.
after you were down.
Some swift kicks, dude.
What an idiot, man.
He kicked me in the face. I got up, and I think I might have taken a swing. One swing. Didn't connect, but at that time the guy connected with a good, maybe a good like jab to the face.
God, holy shit.
And I ended up at the hospital that night with a cheekbone fracture that extended to my temple. My nose was
Do you
broken.
remember, like, there being at the bathroom after or during or whatever? What do you remember?
So the only thing I remember is clothes, which like I don't remember the guy's face or anything, but I remember like what he was wearing. But for me, I think after like that happened, I think 2 other guys walked in and they saw what was going on, and they jumped on him and they grabbed him. And I think I might have even like, again, because it happened all quick, I think I might have even said to the guy like, are you fucking happy? Because it wasn't about getting physical, dude. Like, for me, the only reason why I stuck up for that guy was because when my sister, passed and whatnot, and at the funeral, and everybody was saying all these wonderful things, it's like, you don't want to mistreat people anymore, man. Life's so fragile. Like, why put somebody in an uncomfortable position? Why make fun of them? Why ridicule them in public when nobody knows who they are? Like, it just makes you feel, it's inhumane.
Right.
And I remember I walked out. I didn't run out. I walked out of the bathroom, and I saw my friend, who owns the place, and I said, hey, man, I just got my face kicked in. And he grabbed me and he throws me in the office, and they ran out to go look for the guy. And they didn't find him, clearly. And there was this one guy that I always see there. I won't say his name. He's well known. He's a cool dude. And this is why I say this is how cool people are. Like, he knows who I am. We're acquaintances in passing. And he actually put ice in a towel and gave it to me. He's like, dude, like, he's like, you're messed up, man. Like, sorry this happened to you, dude. Like, all this stuff. And even that, was kind of like, it's all right.
Interesting.
Like, I'm here.
Right.
I'm alive right now.
Right.
And when my buddy who owns the place, he actually threw me in my car and drove me there, and he's an awesome person for that. Hetty, you're a badass.
Wow.
That guy that I stood up for, he saw them pulling me out, and he came up. He made it a point, like, I swear to God, I didn't know him. Like, I promise you, he's none of my friends or whatever. It wasn't, like, I took that as a sign of, like, it's cool, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's not your fault.
Right.
And so I was in the hospital, I was terrified. So I was telling you earlier, I never broke down at the hospital when my sister was there.
Oh my God.
But what did it for me, dude, was seeing my parents walk in.
Of course, so much for taking care of your mom, man.
Yeah, dude.
That's
when I really lost it, dude. I broke down in tears. I was in pain. It was just, it was tough, dude.
And of course, her arriving and seeing, oh my God. I mean, your face looked.
You should have seen afterwards, man. It was black. I had a hematoma in my eye, so my eye was bloodshot. So that was the start of
Your
the
growth?
transition. I mean, I had been growing, but I don't think I really incorporated the mentality of I really need to focus on me and be better.
Okay,
And-
so let's focus on that. So how did you? This is really interesting to me. I mean, shit happens to
course,
everyone, right?
of course.
And you have a choice.
You always have a choice.
Either you're gonna be stuck there and be resentful of the shit that happened to you, or are you gonna grow and
course.
keep going and move on and keep on trucking. Just
Of course, keep on keeping on.
And you made the choice. You said, I'm gonna move on, but how did you accomplish that? Like,
It was so those two things happened.
right, those two
life
events.
My sister passed away.
Right.
This happens to me. So the third one, of course, well, the third one incorporates two things. I don't think I should really reference this, but I'm going to say it, and whoever watches this is probably going to laugh. But I was dating a girl at the time,
Right.
and
Good for you.
long story short, and again, I always say God puts people in your life for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no ill will towards her. She was a good girlfriend at the time. She's a good person to me.
Right.
She went through that. She was there for me.
Wow.
And then after my first surgery, it was tough because I can't even tell you how physically I felt. Like, the medications and everything drained me. It's probably in the worst shape that I ever felt. Just like no energy at all. Fatigued, mentally, emotionally,
Right.
physically. And then for me, that kind of got me I was angry. I had a lot of anger. And I was taking it out on, the girl that I was dating. Not in a bad way, not physically or anything, but it was emotional. It was more like, I don't want to do this or that. Or, just,
Right. Yeah.
and she felt
Neglect.
she felt that, and so I kind of took a step back and I said, man, I can't be like that.
Right.
I need to stop.
Right.
Not just from that situation, but from other things that were going on. Like, I had this sense like, man, I'm alone. Like, that's it. Like, I ain't got somebody to have my back or anything like that.
That is interesting.
Like
I mean,
a companion.
I wouldn't even call it loneliness. Would you call it loneliness? It was a feeling of.
It's more like
It's crazy, man.
dude. It's like, in my mind, whenever
I'm alone in this world.
like, it's like I got to go to battle by myself. It's like, if you can picture it, and it's funny because I always in my head it seems really cool, but I always think like we all have a sword and shield, and we go through these inner battles that we're just constantly fighting.
Right.
You lose a shield, now the battle's harder because you just got your sword.
Right.
And so in my head, I was just thinking like that, like, shit, like, I'm tired of fighting. If you can picture, like, you picture that it's funny. You picture that scene in Gladiator in the very beginning when they're in the mud and after the battle, everybody's tired and they're just on a knee.
Right.
That's how I felt. But I knew, all right, this is it. Like this is going to be the next 2 months. This happened in November. From November to December, at the end of December was my surgery. Like, these 2 months are going to be crucial because now, like, I was depressed. I was scared. I was sad. I was so many emotions that I didn't even know how I should feel, you know?
Interesting. So how did you get yourself out of that? When did that start? What breakthrough did you have?
So we're going to backtrack a little bit. So the things that I post, some of those things I do right.
I want people to add Jerry to Facebook. I don't care. You have to add him or...
You can add me, you know, and...
you can follow him. You can press the follow button on Facebook.
You could follow me.
And he's going to post...
I post a lot of stupidities.
Do you want another one?
No, I'm good. Do you want another one?
No, but in a little bit.
Okay.
Thank you, Claire. How or when did you discover yourself, and what does that mean?
It's probably last year, right before my second surgery.
Huh.
Because my second surgery consisted of my jaw had to be sawn in half. Literally, like, my upper jaw.
Your upper jaw. Hang on. Let that sink in. Your upper jaw.
My upper jaw had to be
sawed.
And I don't know how to say it in medical terms.
No.
But-
Fuck medical terms. Your upper jaw. I mean, I just like, Ricky, your upper jaw has to be sawed in half. Sounds even comical, man.
It does. Imagine how I felt. Like, so
You weren't laughing.
it was more like
what?
Like, okay.
The medical term is like, well, we have to perform hard surgery. You're like,
like you're just
we're just gonna saw your jaw in half.
It's like when they said it, I'm like, you just think, like, just seeing that.
No, they have the Dremel tool there.
And
Holy fuck!
it
Okay, hang on. They're gonna. Wow, that's crazy. So, okay, continue. Sorry.
it's okay. So
Oh my god.
they tell me that, and they tell me what they have to do and everything else that's involved. They tell me that they have to reopen,
Holy
like they have to
fucking
reopen
shit.
me to get into certain areas of my face or whatnot.
That is crazy. I went to the dentist the other day, man.
Oh man, it's funny. It's
I
funny
mean, it's
now.
just
Like,
like-
it's funny now.
You know, in the dentist, they just like poke, and you're like, whoa, wait.
Oh, even the dentist scares me more than what happened to me, man. Oh.
And then sawing your jaw. Wow. So anyway, sorry.
So they tell me that, and I'm like, shit. Like, you know, so that happened. You know, again, I felt somewhat alone, not lonely, but alone in this. And so that's when I said, okay, I got to do this on my own. You know, I reached out to a bunch of friends, and I shared some really, like, emotional conversations with good people, and they were there for me, and they just me apoyaron. You know, they
Right.
So what I'm looking for, well, you know what I mean.
It supported you, yeah.
Yes. So the way I felt after my first surgery, where I told you I felt fatigued and the medication wore me out and whatnot, I said at that point, I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to be in recovery for a week.
Right.
Or I think it was in recovery for 3 weeks. I don't want to feel like I have no strength.
Right.
So I took it upon myself to kind of shut myself off from everybody in the sense that, all right, it's time to, like, really work on me. So started working out, and I swear to you, like, when you physically work out, when you physically achieve something and you see your body transform, it gives you this different type of strength. It's like, I can do this.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you can't say that you can't when you already did.
Right.
And so I started working out religiously, man, and more than I already did. And the goal.
By religiously, you don't mean you were working out only on Sundays, right?
No. That's funny. It was every day, man, 7 days a week.
All
nonstop.
right, then. All right. It's more than religious.
Yeah. And just like there was a chance, the doctor said, that I had to have my jaw wired shut, so I had to prep for that, like liquids. So I mean, I started doing the liquid diet with like juices and whatnot, everything, dude.
Wow.
And that was from November
Crazy.
to December that I did that, and then comes Operation Day.
Right.
And for me, I considered that. I always told, like, I would post about it, that I was gonna go slay the dragon, battle the behemoth, because this surgery, it terrified me. Like, we talked about it earlier, but right now, I think that at this day and age, it's the hell with pride, the hell with
Ego.
judgmental, like, egotistical thoughts about other people. It's about being vulnerable, dude. Like, that's all you have.
That's the game.
Like, it's okay to be vulnerable because
Right,
we're
right,
all
right,
vulnerable,
right,
man. Like,
yeah,
when you
yeah.
hold back, you don't allow yourself to be who you are. And going up to that surgery,
But hang on, why do you mean? Why did you say? Why did you say being vulnerable? Posting it? You felt vulnerable posting it. I guess that's why.
in regards to what the surgery,
Yeah.
I didn't post about that.
Or why did you bring up vulnerability? I mean,
The reason that I did that is because in that process I learned that you got to be truthful with who you are. So again,
what does that mean? It's because I mean, there's a lot of people that or a lot of advice is just be yourself, kiddo. All you have, you're going on a date, just be yourself. Or you're going
I would be glad to tell.
You're like, yeah. What does that mean?
Being truthful to yourself means, and I have to say it an example, you got to be who you are. You don't want to be somebody that you're not, in the sense that if I have money and I live an elaborate lifestyle, people are going to want that and try to be like me. I'm not saying that that's the case for everybody, but it's just an example.
Right.
So you want to be, I want to be like him. I want to,
Right.
You start.
That's a bad example, Jerry.
It is. I know. Maybe we shouldn't touch base on money. In other words, let's forget the examples.
Right.
It's funny.
Hey, man, I'm just calling it as it is.
Exactly. And I appreciate that because you're being who you are.
Right.
So what I mean by that is, don't be afraid to be who you are, in the sense that what you grew up knowing, how you feel, what you say to yourself, not necessarily what you tell others.
Right.
Like, if you live what you believe in, then there's really no reason for you to lie to somebody, to live your life the way you want to live
it comes back to vulnerability.
Exactly, and there's nothing wrong with that. For a long time, I was vulnerable. For a long time, I may have told half-truths, not necessarily telling everybody that, this is where I am in life, but just kind of holding back, don't ask, don't tell type stuff.
And this also comes back to our culture, man. I mean, because we come
definitely.
from a macho, no llores, cabrón, or, the holding back the emotions thing.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. But I think for men and women, it doesn't matter. Like, if you show your emotion, that to me shows me more of who you are as a person.
Exactly, man.
Than you going through something like heart-wrenching and saying, it is what it is, and acting tough. Because to me, that's not genuine. Because it's okay to go through something that hurts you, because in the end result is you become a better person. It teaches you something. It strengthens your livelihood. It changes your life. Even from not getting the job that you want, to not being able to buy the TV that you've been working so hard to get, to relationships. I mean, realistically, in my mind, the one emotion, and I posted about this recently, the one universal emotion that we all feel that drives everything is love, dude. The love you have for the things that you love to do, the love you have for people, like the love you have for yourself, especially, more importantly. And it's not about being like egotistical or pride filled, but it's just the fact that everybody. The phrase that I posted a while back, I said the phrase for 2015 is, "You want to live forever." It's an old saying, but the reason that I kind of came to my mind is everybody wants to be immortal. Everybody has toyed with the idea, like, man, I want to live forever and this and that. But I think that you can live forever by the things that you do, like for people, you know, by how you live your life and help others. That's truly how you will live on, regardless, whether it just be your family, you know, whether it be friends. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, you leave your mark in the world, maybe the world will appreciate it. Who knows? You never know. You know, you never know who you're going to help out. And that's why I kind of transitioned over to, hey, I need to share these things because I'm more than sure that I'm not the only one that can relate to this. And I think I would advocate that most people should do that, just because it says a lot about who you are.
I mean, I believe that everyone's an artist, but, you know, to people who don't, like, how can I say this without sounding, like, really bad? But anyway, I'm just going to say it.
Say it. It's who you are.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I don't
not in a bad way.
No. But I mean, but here, like, here it is. Like, here it goes. But I mean, I wouldn't consider you like an artist per se in the way that, oh my God, I'm an artist and I create like paintings or what. I mean, I do, because I believe that creativity is about solving problems and about solving stuff in a way that it's not. You know, you're creative. Everyone's a creative person,
of course.
And but that's really interesting. And now I'm don't worry. I think I offended you, but
no, not at all.
But hang on. But and this relates to a lot of people who are, I mean, artists. You know, but and it's just because I create poetry. I create movies. I create. You know, I create stuff, right? I consider myself an artist.
Definitely.
And I have that creative outlet. And it's really interesting because what you're saying is basically this. What you're saying is, don't be afraid to express your emotions. But I mean, what I'm trying to say is, you don't have to be an artist. You don't have to write a song or a poem or whatever. There's a million ways to get that. You know, like you. I mean, you're using Facebook as a very incredibly creative outlet to output all those emotions, everything that you're feeling in the moment, everything that's going on in your life, even though you put it in a vague quote kind of way. But of course, no, I'm being serious.
No, I laugh because you're right.
And you know, and I mean, I get something from that. I get something of value from you, and that's what I really like, and that's what, like, true artists, for example. Fuck, I can't even believe I just said it. You're not an artist. Sorry.
No,
you are.
No. I don't consider myself one, dude.
Well,
honestly.
no. Hang on. A true artist, a true fuck. You've heard that as like, oh my God, he's a fucking true artist, right? Well, you know, now that I think of it. You know, a true artist is someone who is really vulnerable, is someone that is him or herself fully without giving a shit, and someone that more than anything, he or she provides a lot more value. There's a lot of her coming out to people than there is of her receiving shit, you know. It's like, it's providing value to people. It's about providing value to people without giving a shit whether you're going to get back anything.
That is a true statement.
And that is what you're doing, in my opinion.
Just to kind of summarize what happened to me when I got beat up. After my second surgery, after I went through it.
After your jaw got sawed in half.
I wasn't angry anymore. I didn't see it. Like,
that's what alcoholics would call a moment of clarity.
Pretty much. I started kind of analyzing the situation. I started thinking, like, you know what if that guy had just lost his sister, and his way of expressing it was he's taking out his anger on me.
Beating the shit out of you, yeah.
But there's more to it, though. Like, you know, that little guy. Like, you have to, like, this is going to be horrible. And some of my friends.
That's fucking deep. That's awesome, man.
I'm just saying.
What? Some of your friends?
Well, some of my friends may not agree with this, But I had a conversation with he's kind of like a father figure at work, my old manager. But he said something to me that kind of stuck in my head because he wanted to know what was going on. So I was telling him at that time, and he said, "Hey, I don't want this to sound bad, but like everything happens for a reason." And I looked at him and I said, "That's true, but I don't know why this would happen to me." He's like, "Well, no, like think about it. You're a big guy, you know, you're bulky. What if that kid, like that happened to that kid and he didn't survive?" And I kind of looked at him and I thought about it, and I said, "Well, he didn't knock me out, and if he did knock me out, there's a possibility that I probably wouldn't be here today." You know, things like that started seeping in, and I said, "Yeah, you're right. You know what? This happened to me, but I'm here. Like, it's making me a better person. It's essentially making me appreciate, like, this beer. I mean, being able to breathe, even though I'm a little stuffy
Cheers to fucking that, man.
Like, you know, it's things like that, man. It really changes the way you feel and think about life." But I have to reiterate, though, I don't think that it should take something like this, something tragic, a death in the family, literally having your ass kicked. I don't think it should take that for you to realize that you should change. I think that, I mean, if this interview, if this, your show, which is awesome, if it teaches anybody anything, it just, hopefully it's a message that everybody's the same. Everybody's out there. We're all the same. We all bleed red. We all go through these emotions, and we're all going through something. And just help each other out, because essentially this is your idea. This is what we're doing. You know, I'm nobody. You know, whether you consider me an artist or not, therapist or not, self-proclaimed therapist. It's all about how you treat everybody else. You know, as the saying goes, excuse me, and I always post this on Facebook, and it's a good saying because it's from a movie. It's from Gladiator, which is a great movie. But what you do in life echoes in eternity. It does. It does. Because
what you do in life echoes in eternity. Jerry, thank you so much. Give me a hug, man.
Yeah, dude. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me, dude. Much success, dude.
That was an amazing conversation, wasn't it? All right. Well, you know where to reach us. You know where to like our things and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So you know where to go. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.
Those connections.
Hey, cheers, Jerry.
Yeah, dude. Salud. Those connections that you
You
have.
have to drink it, yeah.
Sorry.
You can't just say cheers and then put it back. That's not very cheery.
I
But
know.
anyway.